going to speak on time management as taught by his father.
All right, so I might not look the part, but I'm actually half Indian. I'm half Irish as well, which is how you get Italian, right? My father is from India, Punjabi. If anybody knows anything about India, Punjabis are the warrior caste of India. They're not typically nice people when they're angered or hungry, right? And they're often hungry and awfully angry. My father is my mentor, has been my best friend, and still to this day continues to teach me time management. The way he does this is through various tactics, but there's one in particular that's actually resonated the most with me. So, as this 5'6" orthopedic shoe wearing, hard-nosed Punjabi likes to say to me and my brother and practically everybody else he gets to tell this to, is three things. One, if you are on time, you're late. If you are early, you're on time. And if you're late, it's unacceptable. Now me, started getting these lessons when I was about 15, 16 years old, when I was at my worst of probably my childhood career. And I was partying, I was staying out late, I was skipping school, and I was sleeping like nobody's business, and I was late all the time. I just ultimately had zero consideration for anyone else in my life. So this basic lesson of you're never on time and getting yelled at because now being on time is late. So being late, being unacceptable, I was just living in unacceptable. So as I grew and as my father influenced me more and more, I developed the first principle of time management, which is a healthy fear of being late. And as I grew more and more afraid to disappoint my father, who's my best friend, I started to learn about why fearing being late for my father was so important. It wasn't really about me, as Tim pointed out to us previously. It was really about the person I was going to meet and the consideration I had for them. So the second thing I learned after being healthily afraid of my father was I should be considerate of him, and thus ingrained consideration into my life to the point where if someone is late for me, I wonder if they're considering me. And I teach this now to my stepbrother frequently. So first, I scared the hell out of my stepbrother, as my father did to me, as any good Punjabi son would pass on to the next generation. And then I started teaching him about consideration and the fact that people really want to be considered when you're meeting with them. And if you find yourself on time for absolutely everything else in your life, but there's one person or one type of event in your life that you're chronically late for, it's probably there's some sort of resentment or fear behind either doing that thing or dealing with that person. Quite often, I hear people are always late for their sister or their brother because their brother and sister are always late for them. So now this is kind of payback. So the consideration is happening, but the consideration is payback, right? So as I got through learning this concept, I now take a step back and realize if I'm late for somebody, there's probably some inconsideration going on, and there's probably some resentment that I need to clear up. Beyond that, I started learning one more amazing skill out of all of this, which is prioritization. Right? So now I have to be on time. I start looking at all of my schedule and looking what's going on in my day, and realizing that the most important scheduled pieces are the ones where I'm meeting someone else, because obviously I want to consider that person while I'm managing my time. So I have to look at my schedule and see, is that Starbucks run really that important? Is it really awesome of me to hit snooze 3 times on my alarm clock so that I'm now late to my first appointment with my father, which I'll hear about in probably until I'm 36, and I'm just about to turn 35. So prioritization then comes in handy because now I can decide what things are related to someone else, and I think about those first, and I make sure that I put ample time in there, and then I decide on the remaining part of my time all those things that have to do with me. So it again comes all the way back to consideration and this healthy fear of being late, because I really don't want anyone to feel like I feel when someone's late for me. So ironically or not ironically or totally predictably, I professionally teach time management in my business. My business is all about operational efficiency. So I teach time management to dozens of people every day, and I find that these three things that my father taught me about time management are core pieces of information that you can use with any time management tool. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure every one of us at one point in our life struggle with time, and we may have looked at various time management tools that are out there. Anybody that's looked at those can tell you there's thousands of them. So which one is right? Arguably, just like in my business, there are 1,000 project management tools, and it's hard to answer which one is right. What it really comes down to is you need some core belief systems and practical uses of that system before you even select the system to use. So before I invite you to choose a time management tool, I invite you to take a look at time a little bit differently. Start considering everybody else with a little bit healthy fear of being late. Remember that prioritizing your time should be looking at who you are actually going to meet and whose time are you also affecting with your time. And then finally, remember, if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. And if you're late, it's unacceptable. So I'm going to leave you with one last thing. And that's my new problem. And I would love any suggestions with this. I'm now chronically early to everything I go to. In some cases, 30 to 40 minutes early. That healthy fear has turned into a problem where now I have to download games on my phone to pass the time when I'm like panicking about being there late and get there 30 to 40 minutes early. I have literally sat in my car 30 to 40 minutes waiting to go to an appointment early so that I'm on time. So any suggestions are welcome, and I appreciate your time.